welcome to Cosetta's Place. Today I want to do the 10 non-yarny things about me tag that's going around. I was tagged by Debbie and by Melissa, and I said, well, let me get to it. I've been watching other people's, and it's been interesting and cool to hear about everybody, getting to know everybody a little bit better. There's funny ones, there's serious ones, there's ones just, fun facts. And so I was trying to decide now, how serious do I want to go? But I decided to mix it up a little bit. So it's going to be, a couple of funnies, some regular, and some serious. So let me start. Here we go. All right, number one, I got my book and my pencil. Let me take my pretty pencil, y'all. Number one, I have a degree in accounting. I used to love doing accounting. That was my thing. I loved, back in the day when you didn't have a computer, when they didn't use computers, you had the long paper, you wrote everything across, and I loved it. But I also did computerized accounting. I went to school for it. And but I did not go into the career of it because I don't know, I just didn't. But I loved it. That's number one. Number two is I usually work at H&R Block during the tax seasons. I had been doing H&R Block since 2006, 2007, around in there, off and on during tax season. And I worked in some tax offices other than them occasionally here and there through the years. I didn't work this year in tax at H&R Block. So let me see. So that's a little something there. And then I was, from watching everybody else's video, they would trigger memories. I'm like, oh, I could tell them that, or I can tell them this. And I was watching someone, and they were talking about, it was Lisa from Happy to Hook Creations. She was talking about childbirth and having her children. And that I said, well, I could tell that I have a son. He is, I'll tell his age, but no, he's like 33. I was a young mother, and I had him when I was young. So where I lived, it's a small town, and they didn't have facilities. They had a hospital, but wasn't like a very advanced hospital. And he was premature, so I went into labor early, and so from where I lived, I had a helicopter me to Roanoke, is where he was born. That's where I used to live, was Roanoke. So that I had to have a helicopter come get me in where I was at, and take me to Roanoke Hospital. So I had a helicopter flight during childbirth. That was interesting. But of course everything came out all right, and he was in the hospital for a few weeks, and I had to stay there with him, and of course I couldn't stay at the hospital the whole time, so they had a place called, it's a Ronald McDonald House, where they help people who are in the hospitals, families have somewhere to stay, and it was right up the street from the hospital. So I would stay there, and I'd walk up to the hospital every day, and take care of him when he was a little bitty thing. And so that was it, my helicopter ride. Okay, that was number three. Let's see, number four. Someone did, I think it was Rail, she did pet peeves. I have a pet peeve. Well, one of them anyway. What I don't like is when I give someone something, whether I make it or buy it, it doesn't matter what it is. If a person doesn't like it, I'd rather they would return it to the store and get something they want. Or if I made it, let me remake it. Because if I make it and you don't like it and you don't wear it, then all that time was wasted. I'd rather make you a whole new one in the color or the size you want. Or I buy you something that you really want to use. Or just exchange it, get the money. But it really bugs me. I hate it when someone takes something that I give them. If they really don't want it, I'd rather you just say, and I get you something you do want. And because it really doesn't hurt my feelings or anything. I'd rather you have what you really want. So that's one of my pet peeves. Okay. Number 5 is a few years ago. Let me see how long. I guess it's maybe 3 years now. Years ago. I had some health issues where I was, or I didn't even know it. I was an extreme anemia. I mean, extreme. And I was cold all the time over the years. I've always been cold-natured person. And but I was extremely cold all the time. But I never had it, it checked. I never thought about it for anemia. Anyway, over the years, past few years, I was just getting worse and worse. I was just always cold. But also I was having some issues monthly, if you know what I mean, with extreme things happening. And so it's been over a year, a little over a year now. Yeah, about a year and a half. One morning I had woke up. Well, I didn't sleep very good that night, and because my heart kept racing, and it had been doing that for a while, but I just didn't think. And actually, my arm was hurting and everything. Just like a little, like, what in the world? But I just never thought, whatever. And so one morning, I just couldn't take it no more, and I said, well, I'm better go to the emergency room. So I called my friend Joyce, because she's like my mom. And I said, do you think I should go to the emergency room? And she's like, yeah. You're like, you shouldn't be calling me. You should be calling somebody, the ambulance or something, I shouldn't be calling. I should be going. And I was like, no, I'll just drive. And she hung up the phone and said, okay. Like that, okay. And then 2 seconds later, my son's calling, because she called him, because he where I was at, he's like literally like a minute away from where I was at, and she knew I wasn't gonna call him. So anyway, he came, and by that time, when I would stand up, I would like passing out, and I didn't know what was going on. So anyway, he takes me to the emergency room, and I go in, they pull me in, and I almost pass out getting out of the car. And so the first person that takes your blood pressure and all that kind of stuff, and your whatever pulse, and my heart rate was like 188, which is like extremely bad. And so they took me back, and they did ask questions, took tests, took blood, whatever. The doctor asked questions, blah blah blah. And so the doctor came back, and he's like, do you know you have low blood? Like, that was my issue. I'm like, well, no, I didn't know. And my blood count had got down under 5. It was lower than 5. And your blood count, I believe, is supposed to be between 13 and 16. And that's a good number. And I was below 5. And so they had to admit me in the hospital, and I had to have 3 pints of blood. So I got that, and those 3 pints of blood, it brought it up to almost 7, like 6 something, almost 7, which is still on the low side, but it's not least dangerous because I was passing out and carrying on. But anyway, But the long and the short of the story is I ended up for very, very long time, even after that, still having problems, feeling bad for like a year. I was ended up having an ablation and last December, and it's been awesome. I was like, thank you, Jesus, because that fixed the problem. And and my blood count is back up, and it stays up. It fluctuates just a little bit, but it's still up high. So, but I call that the year before the ablation, because I was still having monthly issues, extreme, and it was like for a whole year, literally every day for a whole year, literally for a whole year, it's straight. And so, and the doctor did the birth control pill to try to control things that didn't work, and then the next thing that didn't work. So that's when the ablation came, you know. And but it's been awesome since that. I hadn't had any issues, and but I call that year was the year of hell. And that's another Star Trek thing. People who watch Voyager from Star Trek know what that means. And but that's what had happened. So yeah, but okay. So that was number 5. Okay. Number 6. I was watching some others, and they were telling some like really deep things, and I was like, oh my goodness, people have been through so many things, and which brought it up to my memory again. And I was like, it's like tell people is like, well, I am the youngest of my family, and there were 6 of us. There were 6 of us, but my oldest sister passed away about 5 years ago now. About 5 years ago now, and she had a brain tumor, and she lived with it for about 5 years after being diagnosed. And she was in a assisted living place, and right there at the end, and so I had went. You know, how they call people in, and I knew things were coming in close. So I drove from Roanoke, Virginia. I was by myself, and I drove to, she was in Indiana. She lived in Kentucky, but before that, but she was in Indiana. So I drove by myself there, and I had to stop at the hotel because I was driving by myself. I couldn't make it by myself, so then I got up that first thing the next morning and started off again. And then I got there, and I thought I was going to have more time with her, but during that day, things just started going, even worse. And then she stopped talking, and then things like that, and she ended up passing away that very day. And I was with her because everyone else was on their way in, but I was actually there with her, and I was actually holding her hand when she actually passed away. And and the nurses, would come in, and so I knew what was happening, and, I could tell. So I put on a special song, and I played that song, and I held her hand, and I let her know I was there, and I squeezed her hand so she would know that she wasn't alone, that I was there with her. And she squeezed my hand back, so I know she knew I was there. And so that was, but and she was my oldest sister. So, and I'm the youngest, so we, you know, I was her favorite. I always say that, but not really. But me and my other sister that lives here, we have a joke about being favorites, and, so that was why I said that. But okay, so that was number 6. Number 7 is when I was in I lived in Alaska. I think most of y'all know that already. I lived in Alaska for a few years, and because my dad was in the Air Force, that's how we ended up that way. And while I was there, I worked in the field of case management, and from that job, me and another person that worked there, we ended up working together outside of that job and we founded a nonprofit called Haven of Grace. What it was for was I worked with ladies that were had been into prostitution. They were in prison or in jail. So we would go out to the jail, go out to the prison, and have groups where they could come, they could come, and we would talk, and through issues and problems, and then when they got out, they would come to us, and we would help them with trying to find a job, trying to get clothes, jobs, things like that. So we worked with them to get back into to society and from coming out of prison. And and it was called Haven of Grace. It's founded in Alaska, but I would love to eventually make it just wherever I'm at. But we'll have to get back into that. Me and my friend, she's still in Alaska, and continue with that somehow. But that is another thing about me. And then let's see. Movies and things like that I like. Okay, y'all know I love Star Trek. That's like, everybody knows that if they watch Cosetta's Place. But I like old movies, old shows. I love Sherlock Holmes, like back in the day, black and white even. Basil Rathbone was my favorite Sherlock Holmes, because you know how they have several people that have done it, but he is my favorite. And then I also like, let's see, I like the old Mission Impossibles, with the black and white, and then they went to color, but back in the 60s or 70s, whenever it was. I like Get Smart, the comedy, and I have the DVDs. I love of all of these, actually. So I like old movies and old shows. Let's see, and that was number 9, and number 10 is on the funny side because y'all know me, seen my hair it's like this, but I usually like to have braids put in. So my hair could be long, it could be this way, it could be any kind of different lengths, because I have it added to my hair. And so I liked having my hair, braided and put in. And it also helps my real hair to grow when I do that. And so I thought I'd let y'all know that might be coming up. So if y'all see me and I have long hair, you know what happened. I can say what happened was. So I don't know when, but I am planning on having some braids put in. So don't be surprised if you see me with my hair. I can do like this. But all right, that is the 10 non-yarny things about me. I think I'm going to tag Krista from the Secret Yarnery. Let's see, who else? Everybody's been tagged already, I think. I don't know. And Krista's probably has been too. Last I heard, she hadn't been, but by now she probably has been. Let's see. And Kavita, you too. I want to hear yours. And Mimi from Mimi Loves Yarn. I want to hear you. I want to do yours. I want to hear yours. Let's see. Valerie from Old Soul Crochet. I'd like to hear your 10 yarny things. And let's see. Marsha, have you done yours yet? Marsha from Marsha. Let's see, made by Marsha's mom, Marsha. And let's see. I guess that's, you know, everybody just do it. It was interesting. It brings back memories, makes you think of things, and it's all good. It's good. I like hearing all the things about everyone and where they come from and where they're going. But all right, that is it for right now. I guess I'll talk to y'all later. Have a blessed day.